Hi, this is Fugen from Treleaf. As some of you know, I have been doing a piece for a radio show here in Sweden called Summertalkers. It is a radio program where people get to speak for an hour about whatever they want. And I chose to speak about Buddhism and a lot of other things, which we'll come to later. I started off with talking about Buddha, the Siddhartha Gautama. And I told a story about how we met an old guy, a sick guy, a dead guy, and a holy guy. And how I started up with doing the communion for the first time in the Swedish church and looking up at the cross and thinking, this is not for me. So I met some guys that were Buddhists and then ended up doing a shuke tokido with Jundo, which is quite a funny story actually because I just got an email the last day of school, the year before I had the Shokitokido, and said, "We are going to ordain some priests, and we want you to join in." I just answered, "Okay," and thought more or less nothing of it until suddenly I realized, oh, I have to get clothes, I have to do ceremonies, I have to train a lot, and I do train a lot. I do read a lot, and yeah, I do sew a lot too, which is one of the things that we do in our tradition. We sew. That is one of the many things that people are not so used to, that men sew. So that is also one thing I talked about. But the main thing is that the Shukitokido, and I talk about this too, that it doesn't make me anything special, really. I'm just here doing whatever. I mean, even if the lightning should have struck and my computer would have burned out during the Shukitokido, or if it would do that today, I would still be here, doing what I am. I mean, I'm just an old fool sitting here talking, but really nothing important. So I also thought, uh, uh, I also talked about the three pillars of Buddhism, or the three grounding pillars. That you're not alone, that everything is connected, and that everything changes. It is like that. And I put out some examples of that too. And I talk about the Four Noble Truths, you know, what dukkha and the reason for it and the seasoning and the Eightfold Path and that. And I also use a example of dukkha, the one with the hands. You put your hands like this and you put your fists together. That is samsara. And then you take your hands and you put your palms together. That is nirvana. And then you move your hands. Or that is dukkha. So it would be fun to see the whole of Sweden trying to do that while I was saying that, because I was doing it kind of way that if you put your hands like that and you put that is, yeah, that would be quite a sight. Um, I also talk about the golden rule, the and I talk about love, which is quite good. And I also talk about other things than Buddhism. I talk about the Swedish school system and how that is, well, it isn't crumbling because there is not much that left to crumble. The whole first floor is almost gone, so we're just waiting for it to collapse, which it will, and then it will change. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. And I talk about competence, how we need competent people everywhere, not just, I don't know, teachers or politicians or bus drivers or whatever. We need it everywhere. We need to have competent people doing things for everyone because everyone is connected. And I talk about being a single dad. And that was a bit hard and is still a bit hard for me because I don't think you ever get over that. But who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. No matter. I'm still here. And I talk about working in a bookshop, which I do, which I love. And I must say I've been fortunate with all my works because I've only been working with things that I like to be doing. I know that not all have been that fortunate, but I have, and I'm happy for that. But it's also that you can make things that are hard and you don't like, you can make them likable. You can make them agreeable to you so that you don't have to take them that hard. You can find, the golden things in there. And if you can, yeah, suddenly you might start to enjoy them. I know that I do when I do the dishes. In the beginning, I didn't really like doing the dishes. It was one of the worst things I knew. But then I started doing the dishes really well. I mean, really, really doing the dishes. Like we do in the angle practice we've had. Like doing the dishes. That is a good practice. Other good practice that I talk about is the good conversations I have. I talk to a lot of people. All the time. All over. Not to mention in the Tree Leaf Tea Party, which is one of my many things I like to do here on Tree Leaf. I know that I don't always talk that much on Tree Leaf Tea Party, and I know that I don't always talk at all. But I like having good conversations. Um, I sort of end it, or sort of. I say in the middle when I end about talking about Buddhism. I know that my favorite word, or my favorite word to describe Buddhism is Swaha, which is at the end of the Heart Sutra, Gate parasam gate bodhisvaha. And some say, oh, all hail, yeah, and some say it's amen, or some say, yeah, whatever. But for me, it's just Swaha, which is sort of a hooray or yippee, but more or less on steroids, if you know what I mean. And I like that interpretation of it. And when I talk about Swaha, I talk about the person that shows the song that came after that, which I will have to put a link to next to this because otherwise, yeah, you wouldn't understand. But it's Snow by Lale, so there you have it. And yeah, just to put a little hint, she wants to be anonymous, at least for a while more. May the force be with you.